Yo, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Lunchline Podcast, greatest podcast you never heard. Hopefully, y'all have. It's Friday, so y'all know what today is, man. It's Friday, man. I am very excited. It's a very happy day for me. I love Fridays. So y'all know how we do it on Fridays, man. If it's your day, if you received a paycheck today, make sure you do something nice for yourself. Always make sure you take care of your responsibilities. Make sure you pay a bill or two. Put something on it if you ain't got it all. But make sure you do something to treat yourself, baby. Don't beat yourself. I'm all about self-care and love, man. Thank y'all for tuning in, man, to the Lunchline Podcast. This is actually the greatest podcast that you have never heard. So I want you to spread the message, tell a friend, tell a coworker, tell somebody about the Lunchline Podcast, because I'm actually here for y'all on lunch, man. That is the purpose of this show, man. We are together. We are a family. We are a unit, man. And this is how we celebrate our lunch times. We spend it together, and we're gonna spend about 30 or 40 minutes, man. And we're gonna talk our talk, and we're gonna grow, and we're gonna learn. Man, that's all what it's about here. So this is the Lunchline Podcast, man. Let's go ahead and get to it. Lord have mercy. So I've been quiet about this, right? I've been quiet for a while, and I haven't necessarily wanted to address this. Simply because, I'm just like, okay, I'll get to it eventually. I mean, it was going to come to this. If you see something that's going on in the news, you pretty much know that it's going to be talked about here on the Lunchline Podcast eventually, right? So as of late, July, maybe early July, maybe in January. I don't know when they decided to institute this, but they are now seeking to remove critical race theory from school. They want to pretty much eliminate the subject of race in school, or how it's talked about or taught. There's a few congressmen and women all across the country who have now are pushing forth a bill to make critical race theory, or remove critical race theory, or the subject matter of race being taught correctly in school, because they believe that it will biasly pit black students or black kids against white students and white teachers, putting black people against white people. That's what they believe the subject matter of race in school will do. I will say this: the fact that they're admitting, the fact that they even talking about removing critical race theory from school, is a direct admission that there is a problem with race in our country. You can't have one without the other. You can't have one without the other. You saying that you want to stop talking about race in school is you openly admitting that there's a problem with race in our country. Is it not? Or am I tripping? Because sometimes I be tripping. Sometimes I be off on a little, I go off in my own little mental rocker and get to tripping. But am I tripping on this? You can't have one without the other. So everything that's important to our children, everything that's important to our society and to history, you want to once again whitewash it and erase it, simply because you want to ignore it. You don't want kids to understand and realize the true history that went on in our world, how brutal America is, how brutal America's history is. You want to simply erase it altogether. What are you afraid of? What are you afraid of? What are y'all afraid of? And you notice these old Congress people who are doing it, right? It's always the old, just ignorant, decrepit Congress people that are doing it. There's a guy by the name of Glenn Grothman, based out of Wisconsin. And I did some research into this Congress guy. And he's the same guy that believes that women pretty much don't deserve equal play. And this was his statement on it. He said that, what did he say? He said that men see themselves as the breadwinners. They work about 50 to 60 hours a week, where, the women only work 35 to 40. But because men see themselves as breadwinners, for the family, they should get more pay. These are the people that want to remove critical race theory from our country. The same people that don't believe that women deserve equal pay simply because the man identifies himself as the breadwinner. She doesn't deserve equal pay. These are the people that want to remove critical race theory from school. Make it make sense. So they are passionate about miseducating our kids. They are passionate about dumbing down the education and the true history of America's country. They don't want people to be free thinkers. They don't want people to be smart. They don't want people to understand history as a whole. And when you look at school entirely, is school really just dumbing people down? Is it dumbing down creativity? Instead, you got BS subject matter. When you talk about subject in school, a lot of it is garbage. I understand mathematics is great on the basic level, but a lot of that stuff that goes on in school that's taught can be thrown away. Teachers are underpaid. The whole system of schooling is messed up. It is messed up. Now, I'm all for education because schooling and education are two different things. Education is about expanding your horizons, exploring new heights. It's about ever growing and evolving and learning and critical thinking and just expounding your mind. So I'm all for education. But schooling, the system and structure of schooling is bullshit. It's absolute bull. When you think about the amount of time that kids have to spend in school, 8 hours a day from the time that you second grade, third grade, you there all day. You see pictures of kids getting dropped off at school, all hair done all nice. By the time school over, they look beat like they done been through a war. Why is school so long? Is it really necessary to be there as long as it is? And then they expect these kids who are high energy to really sit there all day. And don't let me get started on the testing. I believe that testing and grades and the whole system of that, it just misplaces confidence. Because you'll get a kid who'll get an A on a subject and believe that they're technically smarter overall than a kid who got a D. This is our grading system. It's not about what you learn, what you obtain, what you can actually apply. They already teaching some watered down BS as is, but they're not giving you anything that you can actually use in your life. So they're giving you these subjects and saying, okay, well, go ahead. You learn this, and they regurgitate the information back to them and they get a good grade. One kid does, one kid doesn't. So now you got a kid over here who feels like they're less than or feels like they aren't as smart or as adequate as their classmates simply because their grade is different. So now we're crushing the confidence of our youth, of our young great thinkers of tomorrow. And when you think about education, most of the founders of this quote unquote founders of this country didn't have second level education. Abraham Lincoln didn't have more than an elementary education. So most of the billionaires, the multimillionaires, the people who have thrived in technology, who have pushed our world forward as far as technology in different fields, most of them don't have college education. So with school, the structure of school, is it really about elevating or finding or pushing our next generation of free thinkers, young creative minds? But are we simply trying to institutionalize them to just adapt to a structure of what life is going to be? Just come in here, sit down, don't say nothing, be quiet. All of this unnecessary structure when you got these young, energetic kids who should be exploring life, who are trying to find their way. Is schooling really helping us? But like I said about the grades, to get back to that, you got kids who, I was probably a B student, you know, if we got to tell the truth. I was like a B student. But at the same time, it was just a regurgitation of information that they gave me. You know what would be cool? Instead of breaking out a lot of the social study books and stuff like that, is breaking out a checkbook in a classroom and saying, yo, this is a checkbook. These are routing numbers. This is how you balance a checkbook. Here's how you fill out a money order. This is what a savings account is. Actually giving students and kids real tools that they can actually apply in life. Because most of us know and most of us agree that these subjects are bull, and they haven't been anything that we can actually apply to ourselves as young adults. Everyone learns differently. How dare we put 30 or 40 kids in a classroom and expect them all to learn the same way? Some kids are extremely visual learners, but yet the students who don't get it are deemed less than. They're deemed less than. You're not smart because you don't have an adequate letter grade. Instead of it being, I care more about you understanding this information than me trying to fail you and hold you back a letter grade just because I want to say that you're not smart enough to advance to the next level based off of this subject matter. You know, sometimes you get kids who are streetwise just based off their environment, and they understand how life operates a little bit better than those of suburbia, you know, those kids who live in the suburbs or whatnot. Sometimes you got kids from rougher environments who just understand the concept of life a little bit better, but yet they're the ones who are deemed, oh, you're not as intelligent as this kid because you haven't been able to show your progress in calculus like this kid has. So I just question our school system, and the fact that they want to take out, you know, critical race theory is really evident of this. Are they just they care more about undereducating us and miseducating us than they do about us really pushing forward and really expanding our minds and being creative? The system of school is trying to create dummies, essentially. And if any teacher is behind this, like, it's a part of the problem. How do you pick and choose what it is that you want to teach? The history of black history in schools outside of Martin Luther King is non-existent. Do y'all remember them ever teaching about anything else other than just Martin Luther King and Malcolm X? You hear about Rosa Parks. You hear about the usual black people who went through the struggle. But yet they don't want to teach us about, they only want to teach us about race when it's the oppression of black people. But now they want to just eliminate that subject altogether. Hell, they're going to start believing that Martin Luther King shouldn't be talked about in school. Like, no, let's not talk about that because it brings up a sore spot in American history that we really don't want to worry about. We really don't want to address. We really don't want to talk about this. And don't let me get started on college. Don't let me get started on college. I didn't finish college, right? I didn't finish college. Got a ton of credits, but I never finished. And I don't like school, honestly. I really don't like school. But when you think about college, man, and you think about the cost of college is grossly expensive. Grossly expensive. You expect 18-year-olds to be able to afford $60,000 and $70,000 and $80,000 educations. They tell you, go to school. You need, well, nowadays, shit, you get a degree, you get a master's, and it's considered almost nothing because there's a lot of people with masters who are still struggling to try to find jobs. But we'll get to that. You're telling 18-year-old kids, hey, you need to go to college. You need to go to this grand institution, because if you come here, we'll give you the best education that you can ever want. You telling these young kids that they need to be able to afford to go to these grossly overcharging institutions of education. $60,000 and $70,000 a year for education? What? You know what's funny? You know what's funny about college? And I've always scratched my head at this. Is that, you know, when it comes to college books, if you've been to college, then you understand how much the books cost. The books are $300, $400, $500, $600, sometimes $800. But yet, that book or that edition is only good for a year or two. So they go back every 2 years and they say, okay, let's throw in a few more words in here and tell them it's the new 21st edition. And let's tell them that the old books are obsolete. So now it's really a business. School is really a business. The structure of college is really just a business. We won't give you a business loan. We'll give you a school one, though. We'll give you $80,000 to be forever indebted with us, to pay us back for the rest of your life. But we don't really want you to take a business loan and go off on your own. That's not what we're trying to create. You need to come here and you need to be institutionalized by us. Learn what we deem as education or expertise. This is what we classify as education. You have to come here and learn this in order to prove yourself. And we give you a piece of paper that you pay $140,000 for to say that you're suitable enough to go forth and teach a subject. Now, listen, I am all for, medical students. You're learning how to become a doctor. You're learning how to become a scientist, and you want to go off and do space exploration and all that. Like, I get it. I understand there is a place for education and there is a place for learning. Like, I'm all for that. But the system is bullshit. The system is bullshit. You got people that want to learn, that want to know more, but yet you want to overcharge them. These gross amounts of money. Astronomical. Books are $600 or $700. That's for one book. You got the education costs $35,000 a year. No, I mean, come on, man. Nobody can afford it. So now they got to take out student loans. They're $120,000 in debt. And they're not even 30 years old yet. They're going to spend the rest of their life trying to pay that off. And you know it. You know it. They know it. The only thing you ever notice if you're in college, and listen, I pay attention, colleges, the cost of tuition continues to rise. While everything else that they say in America is struggling, the economy is struggling. Everything is struggling. There's no jobs. There's not enough jobs, and people are struggling. They're coming out to Social Security. But the only institution that doesn't seem to be struggling at all are colleges. They steady rising to the tuition cost is steady rising. It's messed up. The whole system of schooling is messed up. It's jacked up. I'm gonna go ahead and rewind a little bit. You remember back, man, when truancy was a thing, like skipping school was a thing. And they have a problem with parents who don't send their kids to school, and they made it damn near a law that says that, hey, you have to go to school, and if you don't, you can be thrown in jail. Well, I read a story about a mother who had 7 or 8 kids. Her husband died. She was struggling to provide for her family, and she was struggling, trying to make sure that her older kids, when you got that many kids, a spouse dies, and you're just struggling to provide for them. And as teenagers, some kids are a little bit troubling. Well, this particular mom was not able to enforce her teenagers to go to school because she's obviously trying to support and take care of, 8 kids. The police, they came and they arrested this mother. They arrested this mother and they threw her in jail based off of truancy because her kids didn't show up for school. This mom died in jail. This mom died in jail because she had health issues. But isn't it messed up to where they'll throw you in jail for not going to school? For not going to this building that they deem the greatest place on the planet that you have to go to, where they want to remove critical race theory from the subject matter. They will throw you in jail over this. I just question the whole system of schooling. Are they really trying to produce the next level of thinkers, or are they just trying to keep us dumb and watered down? Is education really doing anything for us in these systems? I'm all for educating. I'm all for learning. But the structure and the system of schooling is definitely failing us. You got teachers that don't want to be there because they are grossly underpaid. And if they cared so much about the education, if governments cared so much about education, then teachers would be the highest paid people. That would be the highest paid industry out there. But they're not. Teachers are making $25,000, $35,000 a year. Make it make sense. These are the people that we are supposed to entrust with the future of our children, but yet they're paid like garbage. It shouldn't be that you have attorneys and these law people and these congressmen and women. To be honest, teachers should be paid like congressmen and congresswomen. Because if they're encouraged to, or if they're put in a position to supposed to bring up these next generation of leaders and thinkers and people who are supposed to catapult us into the next several or 8 generations, shouldn't the educators be paid very well to do this? This is an extremely important task. But yet they're paid the salary of a Walmart worker. Not a Walmart worker, but and this isn't to knock you if you work for Walmart, but just they're paid the salary of an entry level cashier in some degrees. So I just question the whole institution of schooling if it's actually doing anything for us. But I'm highly pissed off about this critical race thing. America is so messed up, man. It's so messed up. To where you have, and you I tell you what, you do your history on a lot of these congressmen and women who are seeking to rewrite these policies. You do history and digging in who they are. These aren't the smartest people. These aren't the smartest people. Based off, and I'm not just making it up. I'm talking about based off of their comments, based off like this guy, like Glenn Grothman, Wisconsin. When you look through the history of things that he stood for, you be like, man, this is crazy. These people are crazy. This man doesn't even believe in equal pay for women, but yet he wants to remove critical race theory from schools. They don't really want to talk about the real history of America. There is no erasing what America has done. America is not spotless. America will never be spotless. It's impossible to cover up and clean up the blood that's on America's hands. But yet they want to tell our children that this part of your education, or you understanding this part of history, is not important. When in all reality, it's everything. It's everything. I'm all for homeschooling, and I encourage and I applaud parents who say that, hell nah, y'all ain't about to institutionalize my kids and teach them a bunch of bullshit that they don't need, that they can't use in school. Actual life skills, how to communicate, how to handle yourself. Shit, they should do meditation in school, teaching kids to breathe and calm themselves, how to handle their emotions. But it's not. It's not. They want to remove race theory. They took prayer out. Now you can't even pray and say, Lord, please help me through this day because I'm about to mess around and choke the hell out of somebody. They don't want to. You can't pray in school. You can't talk about race in school. We just want to create assembly line workers that will keep our companies like Ford, and we want to keep these companies and these factories pushing forward. We don't want a generation of thinkers and free thinkers who are going to evolve and expand and come up with creative ways. How come, think about this, how come school is so built on competition instead of collaboration? Well, we're collaborating and telling kids, hey, let's work together and put our minds together to try to solve problems, real world problems. But yeah, we want to push them on and tell them, yeah, go on to college. Go on and get that $120,000 education. It's going to really do something for you. And you see people with master degrees that they can't even use it. They can't even find a job that they want to find because they've been sold the dream of you need to go to school. This is the message that I have for my kids. This is the message that I have for my boys. Look, son, you ain't got to go to college. Hell, to be honest, I don't want you to go to college. I want you to find what it is that you're passionate about, what it is that you care about, what you do well, what you like to do. And I want you to walk in that. I want you to do that. Regardless of what people think, regardless of, I don't care. I want you to walk in that and I want you to do that. I am not going to tell my kids, hey, you need to go to school. Hey, you need to go to college. Hey, nah. That is not what I want to do. You know how parents put money aside for college funds, which I understand. And if you're doing that, that's a good thing. But hell, if your kid doesn't go to college and your kid say, hey, listen, I want to become a mechanic. Okay, well, damn, instead of using that money for your college fund, let's figure out how we can open up you a shop. Let's open you a shop. You want to be a mechanic? Let's figure out how we can get you a building and we can start your business to where you can really go right into making money instead of you getting $100,000 in debt for a piece of paper that you now have to go work for somebody else just to try to pay all of that money back. And so you're never really living a fruitful life like that. That's the message that I'm going to have for my kids. Listen, instead of this money that you wanted to use for college, instead of this pouring all of this money in college, let's take this money and let's open you a business. That's what it's about, right? It's about survival. It's about doing for self, right? Then why are we giving the message that school is the only way? School is the only way for you to make something of yourself. That's what our parents taught us. Go to school, go to college. Just a typical old indoctrination. But you're going to have a lot of kids not doing that. Just like an NCAA. Don't want to pay college athletes. You want to pay all the money that y'all making off these damn kids and y'all really don't want to pay them. It took 20 or 30 or 40 years to fight for this thing just to pay the kids that you were profiting off of. Make it make sense. Universities profiting millions upon millions of dollars off of student athletes, but didn't want to pay them. Actually had a problem with paying them. Oh, you're getting the education. Go out there and blow out your knee on Saturday for us, though. Yeah, college football is a $1 billion industry. Collegiate sports is a $1 billion industry. But yet y'all really don't want to pay them. So is school really worth it? Is it really worth it? I hope that y'all teaching y'all kids, man. Y'all are encouraging y'all kids to be their own business, to be their own boss. I hope and pray that y'all teaching y'all kids that. I hope that you guys are instilling in your children that is important for you to do for yourself, that is important for you to create your own lane, to provide for yourself. Please. We have to stop trying to indoctrinate our kids and make them believe that going through all these years of schooling is the only way for you to be something in life. To where I've learned all of this information from K through 12 that is pretty much very useless to me in a lot of ways in real life. But are they really encouraging our students to be free thinkers, to evolve? When you have the people who are really running our country, money-wise, never finished college. Never finished college. The school system is messed up. It's definitely flawed. And I hope, man, I hope that people are really trying to find a way to either homeschool or there's got to be some answers. There has to be a better way of doing this. You got these kids sitting there all day since second grade, sitting there all day in this system that in a lot of ways isn't profiting them. I'm all for education and I'm all for learning, but I just believe that the fact that, like, when they try to do stuff like remove critical race theory from school, remove the truth from school, like, what's the point then? Isn't the school to educate, to expand the minds of our youth, but yet you want to pick and choose what you find important and what should be and what shouldn't be taught? So the whole system of schooling is too damn grueling. It's too damn grueling. It requires too much of kids. You got kids that'll go to school. They get up at 6 a.m. They got to be at school by 7:30. They go there all day. They get home. The school, the teachers send them with homework. You got these are young kids. We're telling them this is going to be your structure. Wake up, go here all day. Be exhausted when you get home. When you get home, we want you to eat. We want you to take your bath. We want you to go to bed. But before you go to bed, make sure you review all the same material that was given to you the day before, because now you have to turn this. Where is the work life or the school life balance for these children? Isn't it doing a disservice to them? All of this stuff that these kids have to do, that's a lot of pressure to be 12 and 13, 9, 10, 11, 12 years old. That's a lot of pressure. Damn. I can't be a kid, but I got to go here all day where I'm told what to do, what I can't do. Got to raise my hand to pee. You have to go do this all day just to come home, to be exhausted, just to breed workers. These kids don't really have a life. They just that's why kids get home and want to play video games all night. They're like, damn, I want to do something for myself. I want to do something that I want to enjoy. So my message to my kids is, get through it. Even if just pass, you ain't got to be perfect. Just pass. Because that don't mean that you not smart because you didn't get an A in something. I'm not going to sit here as your dad and say that you're not smart because you didn't get a letter grade that these people deemed okay. Just get through it. Just pass, whatever. I hope my kids, Dad, I want to be a gamer. Cool. Let's make you a gamer then. What you need? Let's get you all the tools to make sure you can be the best gamer that ever was. It's about creating your own lane. There's people who are making millions of dollars off of things that our parents told us not to do. Get off that, unhook that damn Nintendo from my TV. You gonna run my damn TV, hooking that damn Nintendo up to that TV. But now you have esports. You have kids that are professional video game players. Shit is amazing. E-gamers has blown up the last 5 years to where you have these kids who have dedicated their time to playing these video games, who are now making a living for themselves. They don't teach that in school. They teach us you're gonna run your mind playing these video games all day. No, there are people actually profiting hand over fist, millions of dollars in esports. Listen, I hope my kids do get into esports. Yeah, you want to be an e-gamer? Cool, let's do it. What we need to do to make you an e-gamer? Why not? Isn't life supposed to be about doing what you love? Instead of just being a worker for 20 and 30 and 40 years and you never really living your dream? You never really doing what it is that you want to do, because in school you taught, just keep going to more school. Just keep going to more school. Get you a job. Now, I'm all for do for self, and y'all know this because I always talk about it on this podcast. But the institution of school, the structure, what it's teaching, I don't believe this is necessarily breeding the right mindset that kids need to adapt in this world, to where kids are taught that this is the only way. That's why kids don't want to go to school now. You know why? Because they see rappers balling out of control. They see people, entrepreneurs, making a lot of money. They see people on YouTube who are vlogging, making a lot of money. Hell, I'm in 9th grade and I'm a vlogger and I'm making more than my teacher. But yet you're going to tell me that school, education, learning, this is the only way for me to be profitable in life? I'm making more than my teacher. I just go home and just record and just do a vlog and do a video. I do a video of me playing video games, and I'm making more than my principal. Y'all see my point? Y'all see my point? Why are we spending $200,000 on education when you can just pick up a camera and just vlog your life and vlog things that you like to do and really make a living for yourself? And this is one final point that I want to make. And I'm going to say this because I love technology, absolutely love technology. And I'm all for technology and what it stands for. Like, I'm all for it. Cell phones, all the new technology, all the gadgets and gizmos, like, I'm all for it. The only problem with technology that I find is that it's kind of hurting us socially. That's the only thing that I have a problem with, is I believe that it's hurting us socially to where people cannot interact with other people anymore. People don't really know how to talk to people. You go to restaurants, you see everybody sitting around, everybody has their phone, everybody's taking pictures, everybody's scrolling, to where us as people, our social skills struggle because of too much technology. So there has to be a balance. That's my last point, is that it has to be a balance of this technology, this tech world, and the social world. There has to be a balance because people can't technically communicate with each other anymore, just because of technology has invaded our lives so much that where we don't even know how to interact with other people. We don't know how to hold a conversation. Kids don't know how to conduct or hold themselves in an interview because they so shy, they're timid. They're like, I don't really know how to even. So that's my only gripe with technology, man, is that in some ways it's great that it's evolving, but it's definitely hurting people socially. Like, people just can't communicate. They don't know how to talk to people. They just. So there has to be a healthy balance of technology and being socially able to function as a person in society too. So that's just my 2 cents, man. And I just wanted to just talk about this realm of education and schooling, and how I just believe, man, it isn't always the best, the way that it's set up, the way that it's structured, the way that they teach kids what they should and should not think. And this is the Lunchline Podcast, man. I hope y'all have a great weekend. And I'll get at y'all later on, man. Like I said, man, be safe out there. Take care of yourself, and do you, man. Until next time. Oh, check me out, Instagram, the Lunchline Podcast. Tell a friend, tell somebody you love and know, and we're going to keep this thing going, man. Until next time, man, y'all take care, and I'll get at y'all later on. Peace.